Well, Chief, thanks for helping out instructing tonight. I know that normally we try not to put you in that role, but we ran a little short. And so I appreciate you stepping up and helping us with that. And also, you're the comms guy for sure, so really not a better person for that job. So I appreciate you. I know that's not something that we normally try to have you do, especially at a busy training when there's a lot going on. But thank you for doing that. So tell me, how do you think training went?
Good. I think you covered a lot of different topics between the ladders and the searches upstairs, and talking about building construction, and then obviously the comm side that I handled. I think there were a lot of topics touched on lightly. I think it went well.
Okay. Is there anything about the training that you wish that we could modify, tweak, do a little bit differently, maybe?
I think the thing that everybody kind of talked about was like the suspended disbelief, making it a little more realistic.
Okay.
And that's a difficulty of us not having a training facility, but definitely I think when you have a training facility or the ability to actually practice like you play, actually throw a ladder without worrying about drywall, I think it amps people up a little bit more and allows them to be a little more into the scenario.
Sure. So what I hear you say is FY 2026 $1 million training facility.
Yep. We're cutting a firefighter, but we're going to get a training facility.
Perfect. Sounds great. So for your instructing, I know that you kind of had a compact limited role there for a little bit, but how do you feel that your instructing went, or your station went there?
Good. I think everybody was pretty receptive to it. What we talked about, the CAN reports, and covered that part of it. Discussed how that radio traffic works upstairs versus what I'm hearing on the ground, and kind of trying to put together the image that they have versus the image I'm trying to piece together in my head sitting in the car or wherever I'm at. So I think everybody was receptive to it, and really it worked out well that I was standing down there explaining it to them while there were people upstairs giving me the reports that I'm trying to explain to them to give, because they could see in live action what they did well and what they didn't do well on. So I think it went well.
Good, very good. So just kind of going off our form here, some of the rings I did, your teacher-student discussion, give you satisfactory on that. Your station had room for discussion, but also it was mostly, you were trying to teach them how to run new radios. You were trying to teach them the information that you needed to give, aside from maybe some questions that they have. There's just not a lot of room for discussion there, really. Sure. This is what it is. Is kind of one of those things. Encourage the students to participate. Again, that's a satisfactory thing. They really didn't have an option, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
had to.
You have to know how the radios work. You have to know what information I need and what to give out. It just is what it is. One of those things in your scenario there. Enthusiastic about this subject matter, exceptional on that. I don't know how you know all you know about radios, but you do, and you're very good at it, and I'm glad that you are, because I'm not. And so when we were trying to relay to however many other firemen all the ins and outs of the radios, especially when we have different zones, and it gets confusing, and so I'm glad that you know that as well as you do, and that you're able to relay that. And I don't want to say a dumbed down version, but for people like me who don't do that and don't understand that, you're able to get that way dumbed down for me, so I can understand that. And so I think that's great. So that's going to be exceptional in the changes approach to meet new situations. Again, there are some guys that they're really good at that radio stuff, and they know exactly what you're talking about and can run through that thing way better than I can, and I carry one every day. And then there are some guys that need you to explain to them 3 times how to turn it on.
Where the button is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so kind of altering that and meeting that, I think you did a great job on that. Demonstrate important safety practices. In your scenario, it wasn't, really a thing. Yeah. You were way out of the hot zone. You were down in the cold zone. There wasn't any safety that you needed to, really stress. But I give you an exceptional because you did come and evaluate our skills for you, and you went and put your gear on. I know it's super hot and humid. You went and made sure that you had all the right PPE on, and all you were doing was, carrying a clipboard to make sure everything was okay. That's exceptional. I appreciate that. Was a great example for our guys that if the fire chief can go put the right PPE on, so can you. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. Clearly stated the objectives. Exceptional for you. You talked about in the beginning of your scenario, these are the things we're going to run through really quick. That's all we needed from you on that there. Sure. New subject thoroughly, we hit on 1 million times. That's going to be an exceptional there. your strengths, you know the subject matter very, very well. So obviously we talked a lot about the radio stuff, but also when we come down and we were talking about the search and rescue techniques and victim removal, stuff like that, you knew that very, very well too. You were able to give real life and real recent examples, so everybody at the training knew exactly what you were talking about. They could relate back to that call. I think all of them were there, maybe except one or two.
Yeah, just about all of them.
So it was a very vivid experience for that. So I appreciated that. One weakness that I have is you're wicked smart, and so sometimes you say things that are up here, and even like I'm like, what? So, you know, maybe sometimes
Bring it down in layman's terms.
maybe that inner genius that you have, if you can knock that down to just fireman level, that would
Okay.
be. So that's going to be like my only suggestion that I have for your improvement is most of our guys are very, very smart, but there's, you know, some of them that we got to bring it down just a touch for.
Sure.
All right. Is there anything else about the training or your station or anything that?
I don't think so. Nope. I think the suspended disbelief was a big thing, and definitely something we'll work on in the department.
Perfect. Very good. I'll get a signature from you, and I'll get you a copy. And we'll add it to your file if you have one.
Is that all you needed?
Yep, that's
Just
it.
there.
Perfect. All right. Well, Thomas, thanks for helping out at training this evening. I know that you had to work all day and then come in and do this, so I appreciate you doing it.
No problem.
Hopefully, everybody got a lot out of training. It was good for everybody and good for us. So, kind of going to talk a little bit about our evaluation that we had to do this evening on you. First of all, tell me how you thought the class went.
I think it went well. It was nice to get to do some evolutions on something that is a low probability, high impact event. And so I think it helps those guys to do those kinds of things here in a controlled environment and then put some thought to what they can better themselves with.
Sure. So when you look at your station and your instructing as a whole, you're up top with the search. How do you feel your instructing went?
It went good. It's kind of tough to know when to stop them and correct in the middle of the evolution that's going on there. So do you correct while it's happening or do you correct at the end?
Sure. So I think for me, the deciding factor is safety. If it's going to get them hurt or something like that, I'm going to stop them right away. You know, we'll come out of gear, take their frosting off, whatever we got to do, and sort that out. If it's not going to get them hurt, but maybe it's just boneheaded, I'll let them run it out. And sometimes the best way to learn is after you spent 10 minutes looking for somebody that was right there and you didn't fill under a couch.
Right.
So, did you have like any safety issues or adverse events or anything
No,
like that?
definitely no safety issues. It didn't seem. Sometimes it's just tough to watch people struggle and fail, but that makes them better.
It does, it does. So we'll just kind of go off our form here. I took a couple notes while I was watching you. So your student-teacher discussion, that's going to be exceptional for us. At the end of the evolution, you were very, very good about getting those guys out of the gear. I know it was hot. You know, giving your feedback on, you know, things that you saw that went really well and maybe some things that wasn't super great and that we need to do a little bit better. And also, you know, you didn't just say, don't crawl like that, that's wrong. You're able to tell them why and give them real life examples of, if you do this, this may happen, and we'll call it X, Y, Z.
Right.
And so I think, you know, for me, that's the way my brain works. If you just tell me the sky is blue, okay, but if you help me understand why, I'm going to be better at it next time. And I think most of our guys are like that.
I would agree.
And so you did a really good job at that. You encouraged participation. Again, it was kind of one of those things like they didn't really have an option. I mean, they were here to train, but you made it a fun thing. You weren't, you know, yelling at them, nagging at them, whatever. You got them motivated. You know, I think from the teaching that we did from the first evolution, we come back down, kind of did a really quick hot wash of it, told them what we expected, and then went back up and did it. I think you made them, give them some points where they were able to say, oh, okay, you know, I want to do this differently. You know, in one example, Cade, I saw him after we did that hot wash. he was practicing crawling out here in the bay,
Yeah.
trying to get off of his hands and knees. And that was one of the things where you told him, dude, like you're gonna fall doing that. You can't see anything. You're gonna get hurt. And then he did. When he went back up there, he tried really, really hard to figure that out. So
yeah.
Learning experience, he's got a little room to work, but I think that was great.
Yep.
So you're acted enthusiastic about the subject matter. I give you an exceptional for that. It wasn't like you were miserable to be here. You were excited to be here, excited to help the guys out, help them learn. You changed your approaches to meet new situations. Exceptional on that. We did have a couple. There's one particularly in my mind that I'm thinking of that just really, really struggled all the way through up there. And you were able to kind of calm him down, get him settled down a little bit, talk to him about what didn't go so great and why that wasn't great, and redirect it, break it down for him. And so I thought that was good. I'm not sure if he missed the prior trainings or whatever, but he just kind of seemed like he didn't really know. He wasn't at the level we expected.
Wasn't putting all the pieces together quite as quick as everyone else.
Yeah. And so I think you did a good job being able to kind of help him and maybe get him right on track. Do I feel like we could send him in to search for somebody today? No, probably not. But he has the right pieces, and maybe in further trainings we can practice. So,
right.
Demonstrate the importance of safety practices. You wore all your PPE. You're really, really good at when the guys were ascending the ladder, you got up there and helped aggressively heal that. I wasn't super fond with the way it was sitting, but it's just our training facility, we don't have an option.
Yeah.
So I appreciated you aggressively healing that ladder while the guys come up until they got down on the ground. Clearly stated objectives. You kind of weren't really in a role where you had objectives to say. I kind of always started that at the beginning on the ground before they went up. So that really doesn't totally apply to you because you just weren't in that position this evening. I do feel like you knew your subject knowledge thoroughly. Like I said, there were several times you were able to show them different ways of doing things, give them critique, and then what I liked most is you always found something positive and had positive feedback for each group. And so I think that, even, that there's some things to change or improve if you know that, hey, at least I got something right.
Yeah.
Coming back up and running again is a little bit funner. So your strengths are you're clearly very, very knowledgeable. You're very smart. You know exactly what you need to do. You can relate it to the guys. You know kind of like their life experiences, and so how you need to talk to them and how you need to treat them. You know that some of our guys are motivated by like kind of getting in their butt, pushing on them, leaning on them, and some of them, if you do that, they're going to shut down. And you know who's who, and I think that you do a really good job of picking those guys out and doing what you need to do to motivate them and get their butts in gear, but not, getting them to shut down or making them upset.
Right.
So, one of the weaknesses, and it's not really a weakness, but just some of the things like just wicked smart about it. Some of our guys, remember, they're very entry level, and so we're going to have to bring it down a little bit and kind of just remember that they don't have the 10, 12 years of experience you have, that they've got
Right.
12 months. So
Yep.
Bring that back down just a little bit, and that's also going to be like my recommendation.
And that makes sense. Yeah, no, I mean, understandable for sure.
Sure. Is there anything that you?
No, I
Thank you.
appreciate you putting that together. I think it was really good, and I'm sure that the guys learned some stuff, so it was really good. I appreciate it.
Hope so. All right. Well, I'll let you sign that. I'll get you a copy, and then we'll put that in your file.
So, like plan date.
I already did, I believe.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. method evaluation of use, some things that I saw, maybe a couple areas for improvement, definitely some students. Alright. So on the student-teacher discussion portion, I give you an exceptional for that. There were several times up there that you were able to talk to the guys, give them like actual real-life examples. You're an instructor role that had a lot of opportunity for discussion and examples and stuff like that. Encourage students to participate. Well, they didn't really have an option. They were going to participate, right? But you made it fun for them to do. It wasn't like you were hounding them and you're going to do this. This is not optional. It was great. You were able to let them in. If there was an area that needed improvement, it was, hey, try to do it this way. Get back in here and let them bounce around like that. And I think that they enjoyed that. And I appreciated that. Enthusiastic about subject matter. I think search and rescue is your gig. Makes sense because you're on a rescue. Exceptional on that because you just search and rescues, that's your jam. It seems like so you know a lot about that. Change approaches to meet new situations. Again, kind of like some other instructors had. There were some students that things just weren't putting through. I don't know if they had missed other trainings or maybe just paying attention or whatever, but a couple of them seemed like this was new knowledge to them. And so where we did not think this was going to be an entry-level training, some of them required entry-level education. You did a good job of taking a step back and realizing that student needed that. Demonstrating the importance of safety practices. I saw a couple times when I was evaluating if there when students were getting ready to go into areas or get against things or grab things that were going to hit themselves hurt, we were just able to stop them, gently redirect them, and tell them they know this is X, Y, Z that's going to get you hurt if you're wrong either way. So I thought that was good. Clearly stated objectives. That wasn't really something that you had to do because I handled that for you. So really, there's not a rating on that because you did. New subject knowledge thoroughly. Yeah, I would say that's exceptional. You did. You know this very well. Or patient handler was not good. You're going to get real patients hurt. And we were able to kind of modify our training based off of those observations. Calm down. Some of the strengths, you were very, very knowledgeable in search and rescue class and what have you here. I can focus on that. You're interactive with your students and you're able to kind of see what they need. We have a very diverse group of guys who are athletic and fit and could run laps around me to guys that just going up the stairs I thought they were going to die. And we were able to kind of slow them down or do what they needed. Let them go full gas or whatever. One of the weaknesses we have for you might have to speak up a little bit. I noticed when you were up there and they had all their gear and stuff on, you're kind of quiet. Might have been more focused, so you're going to speak up a little bit. question was, there wasn't a lot of discussion for your station, right? So you threw a ladder, it is what it is. For a rescue, you throw a ladder at the windowsill at XYZ, you secure the halyard this way. Like, there's just not a lot to talk about, right? So I think that you did exactly what you should have done. Station, that was good. I know the students when we kind of did a session midway through our scenario, they were able to say exactly where they needed that ladder to go. So they understood the concrete that you're not going to have to have to be effective. So sure. And then on encourage students to participate, I'll give you a satisfactory on this one too. They participated or else the victim wasn't getting down the ladder. So they did do that. In the first evolution, the only reason I didn't give you exception on this, students were slow. And kind of let that happen, kind of let it play out. I guess for me, maybe I'm a little more aggressive in those situations where I'm like, move it, like there's people coming out a window. If you do it this way on the fire ground, you do it that way. That's just a personal preference. I'm not saying that that's wrong or anything. I'm just think I'm a little more aggressive person than you are. You can say it. It's okay. Enthusiastic about subject matter, I give you exceptional on that. You knew exactly where the ladder needed to be thrown, angle it needed to be thrown at. You were able to teach them. You know, you come out with a smaller victim, they come on your body a little bit more than a larger victim, where you put them against the ladder. You're able to ask a question, get them involved, teach them all the stuff, and the second time through, especially, I could see major improvements with them. So I think you did a good job with that. Change approaches to meet new situation. Exceptional on that. I was there when something went really south. You stepped in, mitigated that safety hazard. The student wasn't getting basics of how to throw a ladder, I guess. Just in very simple layman's terms, and you were able to, I don't want to say dumb it down, because that's not nice to say, but break that down even further and try to make that make sense in his head and help him. And it was a tough situation because he was upset, he was mad. As a matter of fact, he threw a glove. And I think you handled that very well. The situation escalated. Nobody fell off the ladder. So I appreciate that. Again, demonstrated the importance of safety practices. I'm going to give you exceptional because you did an all stop when things went really, really south, and that's important to me. One thing is PPE, but you can't be in boots because you're injured, so I understand that. So anyway, that's okay. Clearly stated objectives. I think I heard you at the beginning of the evolution. You said, okay, this is how this is going to go. This, when you hear this call, this is what I want you to do. This is how you're going to throw the ladder. This is, it needs to be tied off. Yada yada yada. I heard you say that, so that's an exception. Also exceptional and new subject matter. Some of your strengths you were able to modify to meet students' needs. Like I said, we have some challenging students that maybe they are hard to throw a ladder, but they kind of struggle with it, and we were able to go, okay, and either explain things differently or break it down a little further or whatever. So the weakness that I had when things went south on the safety evolution, you were kind of back away from the exercise just a little bit and talking to somebody else. To me, that's kind of a high hazard situation. We did have overhead obstructions there, people climbing up the ladder. I wanted you to be a little bit closer, so you could put hands on that and stop that a little bit quicker. That would have been my personal preference. Again, you were there pretty quickly, I think, so I'm good with that. The only recommendation I have for you is you might have to be a little bit more aggressive with some of these guys. They are hard-headed, strong-willed people that